he takes his glasses off and said, wait a minute, you're Earl Gaynor? I was like, yeah, I'm Earl Gaynor. He's like, was that you in the mark with that bag of money? I said, yeah. That nigga said, yo, B, I was supposed to kill you that day. What's going on?
What's up?
Hey, man. Forgive me with the crazy afro. It's been a long time. Been a long time since I got to the barbershop.
It's all good.
Yes, yes. How you doing, man?
Good. Let me see who's coming in here.
Hey, what's up, bitch?
Hey, what's up? Can you see us?
All right. No, I dialed it. I couldn't get the video.
Oh, damn. We were able to get you on last time.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, it wouldn't let me download the app.
Oh, you don't have Zoom on your phone?
No. I tried to download it just now, but it wouldn't let me download it. I don't know why.
Oh, weird. Okay. Well, I'm glad it still let you on.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Well, good to speak to you. How you been?
I'm good. Are you where are you at? South Carolina?
No, I'm in New York right now. I'm in QB.
Okay. Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you mostly? Are you mostly in New York or?
No, South Carolina. I live in Columbia right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got Earl's on here. I've been wanting to introduce you two to each other. He's on here.
Hey.
Earl Gaynor?
Yeah.
What's good, Earl? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
Everything's great, man. Everything's great. Well, good to hear your voice.
Yeah, likewise, man. Likewise.
Yeah, right. How you been? Good?
Yeah, I've been good, man. Holding up all right during this COVID, nonsense or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you been good too?
Yeah, I've been good, man. Just grinding it out. You know what I mean? About to go into some new ventures and things like that. Looking for investors.
Okay.
Basically just working. Just trying to stay busy as possible.
Cool. That's what's up. That's all that matters, and that your family's good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about to go check my mom's in a little bit. Well, I just got out here yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta too. Are you in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Atlanta's wide open. I love Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Atlanta seems like it's been open, man. Like it never really shut down, man. They party and they do whatever, man. It's open.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's how people become immune to the shit. You know what I mean? You can't lock it down. Like you lock it down, it's gonna keep. You know what I mean? Everybody indoors.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
I think we got Dewry on here.
I'm like upside down, bro. Like I don't know how to fix this.
You're sideways. Turn it sideways.
Yeah, give me a second.
Oh my God, Dr. Bradford, what's up, man?
What's up, E?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling.
All right, Dewry. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Oh yeah, it's better vertical for sure. What's up, B?
I'm chilling, man.
Glad to get everyone on. I appreciate everyone taking the time to get on here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is anyone?
I appreciate you having me. Oh.
Yeah, I love having you. So I'm really happy you're here. And it's taken a while to come to this point. And maybe. I guess I'll just address real quick. I kind of just want to catch everyone up, get on the same page real quick, and then I just want to kind of dive into all these epiphanies I'm having and just see what everybody thinks.
All right, cool. I'm outside. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, so just to catch you up, Godfather, just like getting the four of us all on the same page. You know, me and Earl had a little tiff, a little something like a falling out, and it wasn't anything major though. I don't think either one of us had any like ill will or anything. It actually went pretty well. We just kind of got in a standoff and weren't talking for a bit, and we finally broke through that, and we're past that. And just in all fairness to the whole situation, I definitely had some guilt in my part, things I did that weren't great, how I handled myself. So, you know, I've done the best I can to take responsibility for my wrongs and apologize and, you know, do my part. And I think we've made some good headway with that. But I think we're good now. I don't know if you just want to add a little something, Earl, just to spice up the conversation, but
Yeah, no, I mean what you said is very accurate. It was really it was a petty thing, you know. It wasn't something. It was never some ill will or anything major. It was petty and just let it spiral out of control a little bit. But we good. Oh, we're past all that.
yeah. Yeah, so then that takes me to like just, you know, the biggest picture there ever was, you know, about everything, which is really what I want to like come together on, and really what I guess that was like my biggest epiphany, is just how important all this information that goes all the way back to the beginning, you know, especially the way that I've connected with you two, Earl and Godfather specifically. Of course, now in more recent times, me and Dewry have connected a lot on this stuff too. You know, Dewry's
I'm the newbie, guys. I was straight student, bro. And you know, Brian, before you and I met, Earl took me on a deep dive, bro. I mean, like when I first met Earl, I mean, this guy was preaching. It was crazy. So I had a little bit of insight, but when I met you, Brian, like you just opened up a whole other world to me. So I was like, oh, we got to pull Earl back in at some point. I know Earl was doing the stuck fizzle out there, getting that bag. So, you know, I knew it was only a matter of time, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
Dewry, real quick, how's your dad, man? You know, I know y'all been going hard in Antigua and all the things y'all been doing for a long time, man. So I always try to keep up with how's it going.
He's good, bro. He's a YouTube evangelist now. So we haven't been in church since March 2020, bro.
Wow.
And I was like, Dad, when we gonna open back up? He said, open what back up? I got a new ministry. He didn't say it that way, but that's what is, you know, that's what he was conveying to me. And I was like, wow. So he's living his best life as a pastor. You know, my father's a bishop, for everyone who may be watching. And he went through a transitional period. I think a little bit of depression, knowing that the churches were just closing down all of a sudden. And then boom, he you know, we introduced him to YouTube, and that was it, bro.
Yeah.
So he's good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So his numbers are probably accelerated on YouTube.
Say that again?
His numbers are probably up a little bit, like in terms of viewership, or, you know, I guess from what the normal church is. Is he getting the whole church there and more new viewers?
Yeah, the church is there now. And, you know, he has an international reach as well. So, and he has a radio show that he does throughout the Caribbean. So he's pulling people in, and then, you know, that's how the numbers have been going up.
Oh, good. Nice.
But, you know, they can always go higher for sure.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know, man. I'm excited about that.
For sure. Yeah, I don't see Godfather on here. His video.
Yeah. He just called in. He was having issues downloading Zoom on his phone.
Okay. I can't get the video, so I called in.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm out and about, so I got some on me.
Yeah, so okay, you guys want me to just dive in on the big picture?
You said stop it?
Wait, me?
He said, do you want him to just back into like what he wanted to talk about or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to wait for Godfather's video, right?
Oh, no. He's not even
okay,
gonna, he's not even going to be on video. He's just called in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so get into it.
Okay, yeah. So, first and foremost, I mean, it's a simple epiphany, but it just hit me that it's like, this knowledge is so profound, so like deep, has so many tentacles and dimensions to it that it really is like almost a religious experience. I mean, coming into the knowledge and keeping up on the knowledge is literally at the level of people that gather and do Bible study. It's like you can't take all this information in a conversation or a week or even a year. It never ends. It's just a deep, complex subject matter, and so much information is just constantly coming to light. You know what I mean? It's constantly coming in and coming in and coming in. And I was actually surprised because I feel like so much of this information is somewhat timeless. It's somewhat you just kind of learn it and you kind of understand a couple things and you know the fundamentals and you know how the world works. You get the bankers and power structure and all this kind of stuff. But
right.
I think a lot was like really, really, really coming to a head in this last election cycle, in the like ultimate power struggles of the planet. Like a lot was at stake. And this whole COVID that we're existing in, and the way the presidency went down, and just like all these factors, it's like these things are touching every person's life, deeply, intimately, significantly every single day. And, we're just like past the point of no return where everything has to get sorted out. People have to come in, like people that are going to survive this have to come into higher knowledge. And you have to eventually take a stand and just know how you're going to navigate all this stuff, because the stakes are just too high at this point. So, for that reason, I think that this whole, I'm just going to dive in from the deepest part, which is like, so me and Earl, I'll kind of frame it as that. Me and Earl definitely talked a decent amount about the Anunnaki, the human origins going back to the first civilization.
Right.
And I've been just kind of naturally deepening how from that moment all the way to today has like played out, like how it's created just everything on our planet and everything that affects us. And the biggest epiphanies are simply, oh, here we go. Actually, I got a good gateway here. How did I dive into this new knowledge and just kind of like get into a brand new rabbit hole that's completely relevant to everything? And the reality is that, and I'm guessing, Godfather, you probably have a little bit of knowledge on what I'm about to say, but the power structure between like the Trump group and the Biden group and kind of like the communist Chinese and this just like intense standoff that just happened. A lot of it has to do with, and one of the things that's been coming down the pipeline for a long time is like the eventual bankruptcy of the US dollar, like the Federal Reserve System, the US dollar finally expiring, for 99 years from 1913 when it was created to 2012, the dollar devalued 1% a year. So it had devalued 99% going into 2012, which is why everybody, like, that was like another major force when people were like thinking, shit was
the world's over.
Yeah, like 2012 was going to be this like cataclysmic moment.
Yeah.
And now since 2012 to today, they've just been stalling how that last 1% is going to go down, and like what's the new system going to be, who's going to be in control. And now there's just all these factions vying for power. You know what I mean? So there's just like, that's the real game that's happening. That's what everything is. Everything is about this. And so here's the kind of ironic this was synchronicity in the works. I always like am moving through all these different circles of knowledge and just kind of checking in and seeing little things and studying. I went down a rabbit hole that literally started from a random link that said Godfather 3. I kept seeing Godfather 3, Godfather 3, Godfather 3. It was in the Q drops, all that QAnon stuff. There was a random thing where they would quote Godfather 3, Godfather Part 3, Godfather 3. Eventually, I'm like, what is this Godfather 3 thing? I got to click on this. So I click on it, and I just went down the craziest rabbit hole.
Wow.
That has to do with literally going back to the Anunnaki setting up planet Earth and a trust. This is where law and banking and everything comes from. And before I even expand upon it, the significance of this in the logo of the UN of Hip Hop, just to get everyone fresh on that again, is like we took basically the logo of the President of the United States and did what hip hop does. We just stripped it, put our own thing on top of it.
Repurposed it. Yeah.
Exactly. And embedded onto it. Of course, we have the 4 elements of hip hop on it, but then also, and I love the black and gold, and we put the solar system that the Sumerians have in an ancient tablet showing all the planets in our solar system and our moon, thousands of years before we supposedly discovered some of the last planets like Pluto and Neptune, and the outer planets and all that. So that's cooked in there. And then on the shield, the word Amagi is the first known word for freedom that ever existed anywhere in any language on planet Earth. It's a Sumerian word for freedom. Okay. So I say this because the whole rabbit hole I jumped into, Godfather 3, took me down this crazy story of how all governments, banking, commerce, the very beginning was through these crazy trusts, and the Anunnaki created all this legal structure, and there's all these like ancient tablets. Like a lot of their ancient tablets are just a bunch of contracts and just like weird random things. In all of that over time, today results in sort of like this triad of power that was basically the City of London, the Vatican, and pretty much the Federal Reserve System. So there's kind of like this holy trinity power structure that's like controlling the planet. But it all goes back to some stuff that nobody knows. This is literally like, I get goosebumps thinking about this. This is truly, and I mean truly, the holy grail of how freedom looks on planet Earth, legally, through commerce, through everything, throughout all of human history. There's a game that these psychopaths are playing, and it has to do with the main thing has to do with trust law. So all these entities are operating through trust law, and then we're tricked into all these things voluntarily, involuntarily, and until there's such a web weaved around us and our rights and our ability to get money and just everything we do. And it's all based in this like pretty complex like legal game that they've set up for everybody. And it really has everybody indebted and everybody enslaved ultimately. And that means pretty much everybody, even the people you think are rich, technically don't have rights that they think they have. You know what I mean? And the power of the US government, if it ever wants to come after you for something, they're going to get you. There's a way to get you on something.
Right.
So anyway, we are in this like crazy Game of Thrones battle, like for the planet, for freedom, for everything. These factions are vying for this power. And it's like, there's literally nothing more empowering than individuals, especially in America, because we stand the best chance to like actually exercise these rights, get them acknowledged in a court if we, really push came to shove. I mean, it's like, this is like Obviously this is the front line. This is the front line to like, we're in like Casino Royale, winner takes all for the planet, for our souls, for freedom. That's what's going down right now. I mean, that's what the whole thing, that's what it is. And of course, in the spirit of hip hop and hip hop culture and the, you know, the slave trade that was so blatant and overt and obvious, that was cooked into our heritage and the founding of our country, the ultimate hypocrisy that prevented us from, you know, really walking the walk and creating a truly free society that was just. You know, this was like the biggest paradox in issue, like hypocritical issue that was cooked into our founding, right? So it's the most significant thing that our country has to resolve. Like, we have to resolve this issue, this hypocrisy that was created. And of course, we've done that. It took 100 years for a civil war to end that, another 100 years to finally get the civil rights movement. And then now here we are today. You know, we're still sorting it out. And the amount of societal trauma and on everybody. I mean, there's even trauma, there's really trauma on everybody ultimately. Our society's so fucked up, and we just got so many issues in so many different dimensions and levels. It's going to take a while to not only correct them on the surface, but to also like heal the actual traumas and like really get to the next level of like moving beyond it. And we're in that. That's what we're in. That's what everybody's in. And there's no way out. Like, we're all in it together. We're all interconnected. Everything affects everything. And it's going to get resolved. All of it's going to get resolved one way or another, but it's just, what is the role we're going to play in that? What is our destiny? Like, who are we and what are we supposed to do in that? And, you know, in this moment, I want to like just acknowledge, well, a couple things, like, you know, Godfather for sure. Like, I think that how, you know, it really, the significance of Prodigy stepping forward and being gangster enough to just speak that truth and not give a fuck and just tell everybody what was actually happening was huge. You know, for me, I think that was like a big deal, because that's really the only major artist that ever did it, as far as I'm aware of. I don't know any major artist that stepped forward and had the balls to speak up and just say how, you know, what's really happening. And so to me, you know, Godfather, I feel like I feel like you're just carrying like such an important piece of the culture and the history of the culture to be it's like you're the next in line, because you're the one who took the information serious, who was, you know, on the front line, you know, in Mobb Deep's entire journey and everything you guys ever went through. And as far as I know, my understanding, just to be clear, you know, with you, Earl, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, it's my understanding that of all the people in their crew, even Havoc or Prodigy's family or anything, Godfather's the one who took the information the most serious, sat and just watched all the documentaries and read all the books and just like went on the journey, and has the balls to just speak the truth no matter what comes of it. Just doesn't matter. Like, whatever happens, happens. So, and I think that that's a really important piece. Are you still there, Godfather? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. You know, I just released the project, the infamous Black Dragon, and I got a song called Deceitful on it.
A song called what?
I mean, so Deceitful.
Oh, okay. Deceitful.
You know, I'm gonna send it to you so you can check it out. See the link.
Okay.
I mean, it's talking about everything, you know, we're discussing right now.
All right. I look forward to hearing it. I'll make sure everyone here gets it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm gonna send it over right now.
Okay. And okay, so I do want to infuse, you know, part of this call and part of what my intention here is I really want to see an infusion of, you know, God, like everything I just said about Godfather, like the torch I feel like he's carrying is like, he's kind of holding that like historical inheritance of being from like the group, the tribe, the people that like truly had the courage to step forward and just say it how it was. And I want to infuse that with, I do kind of want to catch Godfather up with the entire history to whatever detail Earl's ready to get into it, to just get them on the same page so that they can see each other. And, you know, ultimately Earl, I'm just going to just say this for whoever watches this in the future or for whatever it's worth, you know, I feel like Earl is a very significant figure in the history of hip hop culture. And I'm giving you a little setup, Earl, before you take it from me, but I just want to lay this out. I feel like
look at Earl's face.
He's shaking his head.
That is priceless.
No, but I think he's a very significant figure in the history of hip hop culture. And I think that he's ultimately had this advanced knowledge, you know, for a very, very long time. And I feel like, and this is just my perception, Earl, so I'm just totally putting my own spin on this, but I feel like he's always been like right at the epicenter of some of the most significant things that ever happened and the most powerful people that ever came through hip hop culture. And he was literally right there, 1 degree of separation. And, you know, in some instances played a major role. In some instances just played like, you know, like a secondary role, just like right there in the mix of things. And I think that, you know, my own observation and understanding of, or perception of his journey, I feel like he never really fully came into like his inheritance, like what he truly deserves from the culture, from his journey, for being another one of these figures that was behind the scenes, not really out front and center, but was aware of this knowledge, never took the full deal with the devil, you know, but was right around all these people and very close to all these people. And I think that there's just something I just feel like needs to get corrected, like on the planet, really. Just the Illuminati's had control of the industry for a very, very long time, you know, pretty much from the golden age forward. It's just controlled everything pretty much. And I just think that at some point, you know, that this shift in power has to like bust through, and that clarity has to kind of like come out. And even for now, if it's even just like hidden knowledge to a degree, you know, it's like, it doesn't, even if we just have this little circle and only people that seek this knowledge and find this information, that's fine. You know, I don't really care how it plays out, but I just think that I just have a feeling that he has a certain inheritance of like a rightful place in the history of hip hop culture and what is just. And the culture has been hijacked by the Illuminati, you know, since it went mainstream. So I don't feel that full reward or I don't know what the word is, but the full like reaping what you sow has come through, because it's all being controlled and held by, the more loyal you are to those Illuminati Luciferian energies and principles, the more rewarded you get. You know, it's sort of like it basically rewards the opposite behavior. You know, it's like bad is rewarded, good is punished. And I just think that has to kind of like, that has to get undone, you know? And I think that's like, I don't know how that happens. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it doesn't sit right with me that that's been the current state of affairs for like decades at this point. And I just think if everything's getting restructured right now, this is something that we need to try to restructure.
Brian, are we recording?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So anyway, that said, I think that Earl, if you could just try to like, I don't know, just speak, you know, just a little bit of your history and just kind of back up what I'm saying of like, what are these kind of fundamental, what's the journey? What was your journey in the culture, like from a historical perspective, and maybe just mostly you're informing Godfather. I mean, he kind of already knows who you are and you guys have met before, but I don't know if he knows your whole journey and everything that really happened from day one to today, going back to you being a kid, growing up from across from 3rd Street Park in the birth of the culture, you know, all the way to Jimmy Iovine and, you know, that moment. So if you want to go ahead and.
Yeah. Yeah, you always remind me of so much stuff, Brian. Yeah, no one really, the crazy thing is nobody really knows, I will say the full story, because sometimes it's like, I think just the way my brain was working through all those years, I wasn't, I was never looking to be like this real important person or figure, or try to act like, oh, I'm something so important. But to me, the bloodline of the original poor righteous teachers, let's call them that, the five percenters, the Nation of Islam, um, going all the way back to Zulu Nation, and all of the righteous hip hop artists, because basically hip hop was really just like our CNN. It was our way to communicate coded information. We knew where you were from and what school or thought you were from just by the language you spoke. Like how Mobb Deep always said, "What up, Don?" And we knew that was Queens. We knew, the West Side, they had another language and certain code words. But anyway, it's just real interesting to grow up in it and still be alive and learning every day and growing every day, to realize sometimes now when I look back at what really went on and some of the things I witnessed, and even some of the things like the dude telling me, when I met with the guy and he told me he was supposed to kill me that day, I walked out with all the money from doing that deal with Diddy and the Rough Riders. It's kind of, it teaches you a whole new reality of how deep this rabbit hole really goes, and how deep I was really into it, because and I'm not the only one, man. People like Jam Master Jay, who died for this, who got a bullet in his head. I think I was on that same trajectory, because I was threatened multiple times by dudes in the street who saw guys like us. Everybody on this phone we were potential guys that had a way out of the ghetto. We had me and Melly Mel taught this to kids at school. We did a 10 school tour. Melly Mel, Grandmaster Melly Mel, my man, and me. He would perform the message and I would blow it down. I would speak to the kids and I would tell them the real culture, the real history. And these were the worst schools in New York. Most of the schools you were one step away from jail if you were even in that school, like the Mandela School in Mount Vernon. That high school was created. You had to already been selling crack, got caught with a gun, did some kind of violent crime to even be there. So when they brought me and Melly Mel to that school, they had all these scholars that was going to speak. And, me, I'm sitting here just like this, no notes, no nothing. And I went up there and told them their real history and their real culture. And they happened to catch me when, one thing I learned from hip hop culture is to feed off the energy of a crowd. All of my group managers, I used to tell them, I could look at a crowd and be like, don't do this song and that song. No, y'all got to do this. Switch the whole show. Do this for this crowd. Do that for this. Because I learned very quickly to feed off of energy and be able to, in the moment, shift the entire energy. So when I went into that school and Melly Mel did the record and I spoke to those kids and I fed off their energy, we got a crazy standing ovation. First, they had the police there because they were so afraid of these kids. No one had ever even called them all together at school. The school was afraid of a riot. That's how bad these kids are. It's like a jail. Like you got to go through metal detectors every few feet. There's 10 police officers on each floor. It's nuts. This is not the school that you went to or I went. This is right. This is you're going to jail. You're on your way. Don't worry. The next thing you do, you're gone. So anyway, man, it was really enlightening because when I heard Melly Mel's perspective when he spoke, and he basically was telling kids, musicians, artists, fashion guys like Dewry, we represent the creative power to get out of the ghetto. We represent the inspirational creative way to find and create a clean pathway out of trouble. We don't carry guns. We don't sell drugs. We're the third guy. The first guy in the hood is a gangster. He got guns, whatever. He's selling drugs. He's getting money. He got the new sneakers. He got the new car before anyone. He is the live wire in the hood. Then you got the second guy. He's not necessarily a drug dealer or whatever, but he's caught up in the streets and he's trying to feed his family, and he may be going back and forth to jail. And then the third guy is the rapper, the DJ, and the Earl Gaynors and the Dewry Bradfords and all of us that's on this phone. We're that third guy, because what we did is say, you know what? We got swag, we got the culture, we got the ancient knowledge, we got our knowledge of our history, we know our current religion and or philosophy or spiritual philosophy, but we're getting out of this through our creativity. We don't, all rappers don't carry guns, all rappers don't sell drugs. So I started this narrative. I took them all the way back to that, but we walked them through this whole third guy principle and how we started to dress better than, we dressed like artists, and we were very creative, and we were hyper creative with our wordplay and the music. And we weren't knuckleheads on the street. Every kid that's my age had DJ turntables. If you was just like you got an iPhone today, you had to have DJ turntables. If you was in the culture, if you was anything, you was either breakdancing. Mostly everyone still begged their mother for DJ turntables. Even if you weren't a DJ, that was just what you did. Everybody was DJing. Everybody was either rapping, DJing, doing whatever, dancing, forming a dance crew. It was like, we're getting out of this situation, this whole ghetto thing. We're getting out of this by our creative energy. And so it just, when Brian talks about taking me all the way back to ground zero hip hop, what I call it, because everyone always talks about the Bronx started hip hop, but if anyone knows, Mount Vernon is the Bronx. And I live right next door to the most dangerous live wire playground in the history of Mount Vernon. Everything started there. There's two playgrounds. My building was right at the park. When I stick my head out, I'm looking at the playground, and every DJ started in that playground. Every day there was a damn block party in that park. You had Third Street Park was ground zero hip hop. Anyone that was from Bronx, Brooklyn, everybody came there and rocked in my playground. So I was a little kid just soaking it up like, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, just like all the rest of the kids. You're looking at this incredible rapping, everyone dancing together, screaming, that's when a lot of crowd participation. And then you had the next block over was the most legendary 4th Street Park, is known for creating all the basketball stars in Mount Vernon, which they got a whole lot of. So me coming up in that era and being around Heavy D, Puffy, P. Diddy was a regular guy. We were all kids together. P. Diddy was more of an organizer. He was a very ambitious organizer type of guy. He wasn't a music producer by far. Like me, Pete Rock, Eddie F., Kyle West. These are names of dudes from Mount Vernon that was big on production. I'll be sure. Mount Vernon is only a 4 square mile city, and it's only one high school, really. So we all knew each other. It's impossible not to know every person from Mount Vernon. You got a 4 square mile black city full of culture. We had these haircuts that had like these pointed. I'll be sure made it popular. Diddy did it sometime, but they call it the points. So the way our haircuts were, I don't care what city you were from, they knew those are Mount Vernon dudes, and they called it Money Earning Mount Vernon. But anyway, we established the first major record label, and that was Uptown Records. And Uptown Records was the proof that it wasn't just the Bronx. The reason why it was called Uptown Records, because most of the dudes was coming out of Mount Vernon that was doing the business behind making it all happen. The Rough Riders is from Mount Vernon. I'm from Mount Vernon. Freaking Eddie F had Tupac on his record. Go back and look at Eddie F and the Untouchables. Half of the industry is already on Eddie's albums, the Untouchables. Tupac is on the Untouchables album. So Mary J. Blige, all these big R&B acts, we were already touching them. We were kids. We were making the beats, but we weren't getting paid. We were making the beats, doing all the songs. We were bringing everything to Eddie F, and Diddy was sleeping on Eddie F's floor in the studio. And he eventually asked Heavy D, yo, can you please take me to Andre Harrell? And just, I want to be an intern. And Heavy D blessed him. When Heavy took Diddy to Andre Harrell, that made us have to give Diddy all of our demo music because he now became the A&R. Even though we knew him, it wasn't no big thing. We knew him. He was a Mount Vernon kid. Then he moves to Harlem and he becomes a big name, you know, through his parties and music. He's very talented. I'm not trying to take nothing away from Diddy. I'm just saying the way he got started was because of Heavy D. And a lot of us, Heavy D gave us that one notch of music knowledge and education that we needed to be ahead of most of the people who were just jumping into hip hop. We literally were working with record labels because Heavy D had already gone platinum. And Mount Vernon was on platinum. We were working with Jodeci. We was working with all those artists like as kids. You talking about high school kids, we were already in the business, but of course we didn't know contracts ourselves. Like Eddie F knew the contracts and stuff. He was pretty much like our P. Diddy. He was ahead. Eddie had $1 million mansion. He had an incredible studio. He had probably 15 stars coming through there doing all kind of R&B hits, hip hop hits, anything you mentioned. You know, I was signed to the same management of Boogie Down Productions with Karis One. Bill Brickell, he signed me. He was managing me. D Nice, all those dudes. So, you know, all of that leads back though into the number one thing for us in the culture. You had to be God body, number one. You had to have supreme knowledge of self. You had to be able to quote different supreme mathematics. You had to be able to speak in supreme mathematics. So if you was around us, you would never even know what we was talking about. We were like, yo, peace, guys, you got the C line rule? Get the C line rule. I just asked you, do you got the car? But you know, you wouldn't know that. But that's how we spoke as kids. Yo, I'm gonna get to CLI rule. Yo, such and so about to guard you now. I just said he got the gun. We get in the car. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But we grew up. I'm just saying we grew up speaking that. Like you had to master that, or you get your ass beat. There wasn't no coming down my block. Third and Third. To this day, it's the most dangerous block in Mount Vernon. You're not coming down no 3rd and 3rd Street, not knowing the supreme mathematics, not being able to break it down, not being able to take it into the current religions and all of that. So that made us study everything. We were a different breed. We were just like, look, music is how we express. First of all, we knew there was an we call it, this world deals with information. We deal with outformation. Outformation is when you have the unique ability to bring forth things that's missing in the world. So you're actually a pure source bringing outformation. We didn't need information. We was coming out with outformation. Hip hop is outformation. That's what it actually is. And we had a whole different understanding, a whole different philosophy of what was really going on. So you might do something and you think, oh, it's just dope. We were much, much deeper into what these things really were and what it really meant. And then we had students, even though we was kids, we just the school of thought we came from, you had to be like me and Brian talk about this a lot. And I'm gonna try to speed this up real quick. It was nothing but we believe that 33% of your time is to be teaching people younger than you and people kind of beneath your level, mostly because they're young. Then the other 33% of the time is your brothers, like how we're all brothers, we're all going in a similar direction. You spend the other 33% of the time with them, building with them, what we gonna do, what our aspirations are. But then the additional 33% of the time is to connect with master teachers. You had to have a circle of master teachers that was 10 to 20 years ahead of you of where you were trying to go. We live by those rules. I had students I had to teach. 33% of my time was dedicated to them. 33% of my time was dedicated to my brothers going the same way. The other 33% of the time was all about master teachers that was 20 years ahead of me, 30 years. And we didn't discriminate, no matter what color you were, no matter what religion you were. If you had some truth, because our saying is truth is truth. If a bum walked up to me and dropped some jewels on me, I would say truth is truth. I wasn't judging him because he was a Muslim. I wasn't judging him because he was a Christian. I wasn't judging him for anything. I would say truth is truth. And so that's how we had more of an interfaith dialogue, because we felt the only way we were going to free our people and become successful is be able to connect with people all over the world. And it proves so true in my life many times. Sometimes I went to the gas station, I had the locks in the car, we going to Brooklyn, because we used to record in Brooklyn at a studio called Funky Slice. And the funny thing is, I was watching the Biggie documentary, and it reminded me, that's where I met Biggie before he was anybody. Biggie was recording in Funky Slice studio. And right also on, if you look at Netflix, they go into, and Biggie tells him, the studio was called Funky Slice, and they show him with the same dudes that groomed me, groomed him. Wow. I'm sitting here looking at the TV. It blew my mind. I was just looking at the TV, and, I'm not trying to link myself to him. He's, Biggie's Biggie. But I'm looking at it, and when he did, they were Japanese people, first of all. It was a little short time. This nigga name is Dr. B. If I ever find him, this is the dopest beat-making engineer I ever seen. He put us all on. Dr. B this nigga was, he was just ill. Like, advanced. He was super advanced, and they were humble. They were just Japanese people that wanted to work with Black people. So I would leave Yonkers with a car full of niggas in my trunk, hanging out the window. I'm driving. I'm paying for the studio. Half the time I came outside, my car was towed. They would laugh at me. Boom.
Wow.
Just get to those Japanese niggas. Because Dr. B and the other nigga name was Komodo. Them two, geniuses. And they made our sound. They helped us perfect our sound. They helped us to understand, we knew everything. We knew production. We knew everything. We knew how to really get to master sound. We knew drum kits. I could listen to one beat I can listen to 10 of your beats and tell you where you learned your production from. Because that's how we came up. I knew the funk drums. I knew the jazz drums, or you listen to a lot of this era music. So we knew how to tap into that music and pull it all into the culture. So it's just to Brian's point, I was blessed to work around I kind of like the golden era going into the new era. And I left Mount Vernon and I took all of that knowledge to Yonkers. And Yonkers was a booming city with nothing going on. There was nothing, zero. And just to speed this up, when I got to Yonkers with the knowledge, everybody was broke, much broker than Mount Vernon. The city was way bigger. It was 1 million rappers, 1 million singers, but nobody had nothing. There was no studios, there was no money, there was nothing. The Rough Riders had money. They was in the streets of Yonkers. They was driving Maseratis. They had that car, because I had never really seen one. I'm not a car guy. I didn't know none of that stuff. I seen them with that car, but I wasn't even sweating them. They were like, yo, we starting a management company, but we don't know nothing about the business. I was like, well, I know the business because I had been working with Heavy D and Eddie F and Diddy and all that as a kid. So I was advanced. Plus, I knew how to make all the beats. I knew how to write songs. I knew how to sing songs. So they had the perfect combination. Basically, I got 3 jobs and I bought my own studio. And that basically, I personally set off everything in Yonkers. Every artist was in my house. There's no artist that will tell you they don't know who I am. Every artist that was in my house. It was times I had 20 groups. And I was actually a better rapper than I was a producer. But what happened was oh man, like not to
Earl, why am I just learning this, bro? What?
Dewry, man. I don't know why God. I'm keeping it 100 with you, man. I don't know why.
I'm hear you.
I don't know why God took that passion from me, because let me tell you, man, I ain't even going to this, man. They used to call me back burning. I got so many names and from the culture. I swear to God, I had a group in Mount Vernon, and we battled everything from Mount Vernon to Yonkers, and we bodied everybody. And they were personally calling me Terminator at the time. And I don't even talk about this shit, but that's how me and Jada linked, because Jada was nice, but he would just spit 1,000 bars, and I just sit here like this, and I was able to just dismantle him, just take him apart. Like, because I had too much knowledge. I was able to put the knowledge into the songs, and I told him, nah, man, you are a much better rapper, but you don't know how to write songs. You got no hooks. So I taught them how to write hooks. And I got so inspired from what Brian's talking about, the ministry of influence. It started way back then. When I taught Kiss and the Lox my style, how to rap, I said, let them niggas do that. I like making the deals. I was like, I like making the beats and putting deals together. Fuck rapping. Like, I'm working too hard. And somehow it was, DMX was there, Mary J. Blige was there. And I'm just going from one person to the next, making their beats. And then I started saying, man, I can have 20 deals. Why should I just be the rapper? And I just totally stopped rapping. I would write hooks. Don't get it twisted. Every time they did songs, most of the original hooks was me. I would write them. And most of their records, I'm on the hook. I was actually singing the hooks for them to teach. And I got I fell in love with teaching, man. I fell in love with helping other people understand the bigger picture and teaching music. And I just once I got caught up in it, me and Dave Hall did Mary's first album. We did all the bomb records. And, Dave got all the credit. He was the keyboard player. He deserved it. I was doing the beats and helping with writing the songs, the Eddie F. We brought Mary to Eddie F. Mary was my neighbor. I brought her to them. And me and Dave Hall was producing her records in my house. But anyway, we won Producers of the Year, and we got our first label, Hall of Fame Sony. So some records, Dave Hall, he named it Hall of Fame. And we signed the Lox to Hall of Fame. And from there, everyone, kind of knows the story, how the Rough Riders ran up in there when I was there. And Dave was really scary. Like, he had no street cred at all. He didn't want nothing with the streets at all. And when the Rough Riders came in his office talking about Puff wanted the group, he released the group from Hall of Fame Sony immediately. But they couldn't do the deal without me, because I was the real record label. They were still signed to me. And it took them 2 years to get the group from me, but it had gotten violent. They started sending Brooklyn cats to my house. A few times I was grabbed up, thrown in the car. Not fully thrown, but it was like, get in this fucking car before we shoot your ass type of shit. And you knew that was the next step. You're gonna get shot. So I would get in the car and talk to these guys, and I could tell that it was going into a violent scenario. And then one day they finally brought me to the Mart in Harlem, where all the drug dealers were. And the Mart was a front for all kind of cocaine and whatever. They brought me there, and they were just saying, yo, I need 50,000. Y'all gonna give it back to you. These dudes was bringing out stacks of money. I'm sitting there with a table full of money, and they're like, "You giving us the group today?" And we wrote up a hand contract for the lots right there at the mart, and I walked out with a bag of money. But what they didn't know about me, I had been in the streets. I had so many Bloods and Crips and teachers from so many different directions. I understood that I wasn't going to make it home with the money. So I made a phone call. That's when the two-way pages was out. They didn't know I had my two-way on me. I went in the back while they counting up the money. And I texted one of my shooters straight up. My man, he had legal guns in Mount Vernon. And he really saved my life because I was like, yo, I'm in a situation. They got me in Harlem. Get some guns and some of our people and get the fuck over here because I'm about to walk out of here on 125th Street with $150,000 cash. And I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to make it out of here. He said, yo, I'm on the way. He texted me, yo, I'm out front of the mart. We parked. I said, do not move the fucking car. I don't care if the cops come. I don't care what they do. They're getting ready to walk me out of here. When I walk out, you got to get out the car with guns drawn. I said, do not, if you're sitting in that car, I'm getting shot in my back. I already know this.
Yeah.
I know this. So when it went down, sure enough, he pulls up. He had a green Acura, never forget it, light green Acura. He pulled up. Everyone was shocked because it was like everybody was standing at the door like this. Yeah. So I'm walking off, and it was maybe 5, 6 dudes standing behind me like this. And I'm just waiting for someone to do something because I could feel it. But when that car pulled up and screeched and they jumped out and they had their hands by their side, everybody knew these niggas ready to shoot it out.
Yep.
I walk in the car, we get out of there with the money. To make a long story short, 10 years later, I'm doing business with this Dominican dude in Harlem on 125th Street in his restaurant. Turns out, I kept telling him my name. Oh, I'm from Yonkers. I did all of the Yonkers. I'm saying all this shit. He takes his glasses off and said, wait a minute, you're Earl Gaynor? I was like, yeah, I'm Earl Gaynor. He's like, was that you in the mart with that bag of money? I said, yeah. That nigga said, yo, B, I was supposed to kill you that day. Me.
Yo.
He said, if you know me, and I'll drop his name for you. His name is, he was a live wire. He shot many people. He was nothing to play with. He said, look, I shot many motherfuckers. I was young and wild. Everybody know my gun go off. They told me, we're going to have this nigga sign over the group. We're going to give him the money. When he walks out the door, eliminate his ass.
Wow.
If I did not make that text, that two-way text, I would not be here telling you this story. I'll be another Jam Master Jay who had a valuable group who, by the way, I had taught the Locks so much spiritual information. That's why they went off into Juices for Life and all this positive shit. You never heard the Locks and Illuminati. You notice the Locks battled all of those dudes that was into that shit. They got at them. They had a different consciousness being around me. For the years they was around me. And I never had a problem with the group. It was just that they became too valuable. Diddy wanted them, the Rough Riders wanted them. And it was better to eliminate me and take the group because I was standing in the way. But to make a long story short, thank God he had the mercy to, I let my man come there with the guns and save my life. And then this dude, me and him become friends, mad years later. After he told me he was going to shoot me, he's like, thanking God. He's like, man, I'm so glad I didn't do it.
Wow.
He's like, when those guys pulled out the guns, it threw us off. And he's like, I'm not even cool with them niggas no more. He's like, they played me. I was young. I would do anything they told me. And he's like, they had told me, that it was better to just shoot, at least make it look like a robbery. Like as soon as you signed the contract and got the money and you was walking away, somehow you got robbed and shot and all that. And yeah, so I didn't want to make this into this long story about me, and I'm not here to do that. But my number one passion is spiritual information. Spiritual information, you can call it preaching, our own form of preaching and teaching, and just also health and music. Those three things are the most dear things. Those are the things that make me really happy and really tick. Spiritual information, the health stuff, and then the culture itself, just working with artists and connecting with people all over the world. So, you know, that's just a little bit about it, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but Brian is right in the sense that we all need to complete our destiny into these types of things. And everybody on this phone, I already know, like Dewry, you and your dad, and the fact that you've been helping the church and helping your dad and having that international reach. We thank God that your dad is still here and he's doing his due, but you need to be preparing yourself to step into those bigger shoes. If anything happens, don't wait for it to happen and then ask yourself, what are you going to do? Tell yourself now, I'm going to start just stepping into my role. I'm going to do it my way. You know, even through your art and your branding and your music and your relationships, it can literally, just how your father just realized, there's a whole new digital church. I'm good.
Yeah.
We don't have to do what they were doing for
Right.
so long. You know, it's a new world now, and you can, you know, we need to just consciously have a plan of how we're going to reach our highest expression of ourselves. And so that's what Brian brought this call together for. And it's about all of us, man. It's all of us have a story. I think I'm older than you guys, and God preserved me for a reason. I know that. So every day that I live and I do stuff and more, he keeps sending me more and more stuff. Like I'll give y'all a few of my latest things. So I think I told Dewry this. He brought me this man he broke the Passion of Christ movie, and he had he built the #1 Christian advertising and marketing company in the world. It's online, valued at $500 million. He built a database that has 120 million Christians on it, and he brought all that to me. And we got hooked up, and he was like, look, when I told him what my destiny is with doing faith-based, family-friendly, clean entertainment, because I look at my daughter who's now 17, and then I got little kids, my new baby. I'm like, they can't get any clean content anywhere. Even if it is a hip concert, the content can still be cleaned up where I don't have to worry about them, everything being twerking or all this over-sexualized love and hip hop type of shit. Mm-hmm. So me chopping it up with that guy, I started going down that lane like, look, God ain't bring this 120 million Christians to me for no reason. And turns out he's done amazing things with this database. It generated $6 billion since early 2000s. TD Jakes, the top 20 ministers, national ministries, he represents 17 of those guys. They all go through him. He runs their phone service. Like, he has call services. So if you call for a TD Jakes book, you actually call in his call center, and he handles all of that for Joel Osteen, TD Jakes, David Jeremiah, all, you know, white and black scholars. So all this stuff has been brought to me, and I realized all these years, like, I've just been building this, let's call it a roll up, where you can roll all this stuff up into this new powerful weapon of mass destruction for righteousness. Let's just say that. So that's kind of been part of our destiny, and this whole Illuminati thing is why it hasn't been easy for us, because when you're trying to come up in a satanic Illuminati system and be against it, but use their own assets. Like Sun Tzu said, smaller than them, you have to attack them, and then you use their weapons against them. You attack them, kill this group, take their weapons, and use it against the next group. So it's kind of like what we've been trying to do for years and years and years without being sellouts ourselves or being put into anything really, really crazy. And the last point to bring this home, where hip hop culture got this from, I often ask Christians, where did the cross come from? This is just a trick question. I ask Christians, what can you tell me the origin of the cross, the actual cross? And most of them go, oh, the Romans were killing people on the cross and hanging people on the cross. It was like the electric chair of the time. So, and being that they put Jesus on there, that's where the crucifix came from. And I'm like, yeah, that's partly correct, but that ain't correct. That's not where it came from. And then others will say, well, the cross represents the zodiac sign, the cross of the equinox. That's also true. But that's not where it originated from. The cross, when they go 250,000 years, 50,000 years ago, and they looked at the Anunnaki civilization, the Anunnaki left stelas of them with wings. So you saw the Anunnaki with wings. Every single Anunnaki had a cross on his neck. So the religion is a jack of the Anunnaki system. You can go and do your research yourself. All Anunnakis they got a watch on and they have a cross. The cross that they had on their neck was taken because, when the popes and all of them looked at that, they took the whole Anunnaki story, even how the Bible starts out. The Bible starts telling you about Abraham and his wife. But when they get into the deeper story, they tell you that Abraham is a Sumerian. And they said that Christianity, Islam, and the Jewish religion, it said that all three of them came from Abraham. So what are they telling you? All three religions are copies from the Sumerians because Abraham is a Sumerian. They sneakily tell you the story that Abraham is from Ur, and he is a Chaldean, which is a Sumerian. And so the whole Bible is his bloodline. It's a Sumerian story. But what they did is create the greatest story ever told. And we call it the cross fiction, the crucifixion. They fictionized a story of where the cross originated from, even though when you look at angels in the Bible, angels have wings. Those are Anunnaki stelas. They're what they call angels is nothing but the image of the Anunnaki with wings. And the wings only meant they had the power of flight through technology, because that's how they came to the planet. So those wings weren't saying they were like angels that fly around. It was technology that the Anunnaki had the power of flight, and that they could fly through the heavens, and it goes into many other things. So that's just a little piece I wanted to throw at it, because Brian said hip hop culture, the way we jacked the United States symbol. Well, actually, we're just taking back the same way the Anunnaki had the cross, and Christianity jacked the cross and created a whole greatest story ever told, fictionalized kid story to create the new world order to take over the world from thousands of years ago. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Really? So you're just gonna drop that bomb so heavy? The Hiroshima, bro? Like, what?
Man, it's like, sometimes you feel like, it's funny, Dewry, because I know you feel like this with your dad. I know y'all preach and preach and preach and preach. Some feel like, let me shut up. you're like, I done said enough, let me just shut up for now. I mean, I love it in a genuine moment when people say something and I can make a point to them, I always tell them, look, I'm not trying to, let me say what I'm gonna say, whether you believe it or not, or it becomes true in your life later. Let me just drop this jewel on you so you can understand. Why is, first of all, Israel, Isis, Ra, El, is 3 Egyptian deities that are connected to the ancient Sumerians. Isis, Ra, El, Israel, Genesis is genealogy of Isis. It is not all that bullshit they told you. The word Genesis means genealogy of Isis because they used Isis DNA to create the human race. So when you want to talk about the Holy Spirit and the Bible, come on, man, we're not kids. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. First of all, the Bible says, in the beginning. Why didn't it say at the beginning? Because they don't have the beginning other than the Sumerian records. So in the beginning means thousands of years after the beginning. They're able to use word trickery to make you feel like you're getting the beginning. No, you're not. It said in the beginning, God created, and it actually, the real Bible says the Elohim or Anunnaki created the heavens and earth. It literally goes into that. When you get the real Hebrew Bible, it does not use God. It says the Elohim, which are the plural. It's a plural, the powerful ones. And the powerful ones ends up being the Anunnaki, et cetera, like that. So you sometimes you get tired of knowing all this stuff because you're living in a satanic world where I don't want to say they don't want to hear it. There are millions and millions and millions of people that want to hear it. And then there are people who think that that's why I called it Christianity 2.0. Dude, I'm not trying to change from being a Christian. I'm just trying to have you seek deeper levels of understanding of the same story. The same story that you're hearing, everything that that this government said happened 2,000 years ago, it's on the pyramid walls 10,000 years ago. And then it's in the Sumerian records from 50,000 years ago. And before that. So the exact same story. So it's like, something got to be wrong if the Bible quotes the Sumerians word for word. And why would white folks tell you that a Sumerian and an African named Moses wrote the first 5 books of Moses? Moses wrote the first 5 books. That's what they say. He's an Egyptian. Egyptians are connected to the Sumerians. It starts with this whole Adam Eve thing going into the father, patriarch Abraham, which is his name is Ab, Ra, Ham. Ab, father, Ra, God, Ham, black. That's what Ham means. Okay? At the end of the day, and it's not about race and none of that stuff. It's just that they've humanized us so much that anytime someone drops something and the body that this being is living in is white is the problem. The body that this being, I was taught that we are not the body. The body is just the temple of God where God lives. If I cut Dewry open right now, the being that's talking, the consciousness that's in Dewry is not Dewry. It's God. You cannot find the human source. They've looked in every cell. They've looked in everything. We're nothing but pretty much like an illusion. We're nothing but an energy of God. We're a consciousness that lives between the body and the blood. It's like a space. It's almost like a space that we live in. And people, everyone has their own world. They all have their own way to look at it, how they want. But I can say this much. I've read enough myself on every culture, every religion, and use Christianity and Islam as kind of my center focus points. I've read enough stuff to understand that they've all been tampered with because people wanted to drive home a certain point to keep control of the world. Because everything is always about losing control of the world. Who has control of the world and who doesn't? And like Brian was saying, going all the way back to these bloodlines, they didn't want to lose control. So they kind of gave us systems like that. So I've done enough research and sometimes, you know, I've tried to prove things right and prove things wrong, but not really caring which way it goes. I just wanted to know, let me study and study and study. I want to know, is this true? Is the way that they're presenting this story factual? And 9 times out of 10, it's not factual. Some of it is true, but they changed a lot of things so that you kind of believe more in their worldview. Because if you can control a person's worldview, you can control their destiny.
This is a good segue. I have a question. So, and I kind of wanted to ask this a while ago. So we know for a fact humans live, humans die, right? We know about the bankers. We know about the certain people who have control of the system, created the system, maybe not create the system, but now they're the new power who control the system. Why can't, since we know people die, right? And we keep saying they, why can't we just go and approach who these young versions of the power structure are and now do something? Because the way I see it, the people who created the system a long time ago, they were really the tough ones. They were the ones who was, you know, the hardest, you know, they believed it the most, they created it. And anyone after that were just kind of indoctrinated and maybe just, I don't know, born into that power structure. Now that we're at this level of understanding, why can't we just simply go to wherever they are and go holler at these people, because they're the ones who created hell on earth for us? Why are we sitting in our living rooms talking about this when these are physical human beings?
Right. I'm gonna give my quick answer to that, and then I want to hear what Brian.
Yes.
No, we can. We can. That listen. They fear your light more than they fear your darkness. In other words, the reason why people get assassinated and killed, because they do have the potential to change the whole world and to change the understanding and overstanding of what all that history you're talking about. But again, in my worldview, this is a little different. Notice the Bible talks about either you go to hell forever or you go to heaven forever. The real jewel is you don't die, because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Right. So they want you to believe you can die. So in your worldview, Dewry, the physical Dewry, you know, that your body can pass away, but you are a living soul. You see, we got it backwards. You think you're Dewry who has a soul. You're really a soul that they call Dewry in a physical body. Okay? You are not a human. You are not a person. We've been taught this backwards so that we would identify with McDonald's and Coca-Cola and their world better than the ancient ones knew that they were the ever-living, true and living gods. And see, we have a problem with, that doesn't mean that I'm talking like I'm separate from, Jesus said himself, is it not written in your law, I said, all ye are gods? When the Jews came to him, he said, yo, what are you talking about? Is it not written in your law? I said it, that all ye are gods. So don't come to me because I'm saying I'm the son of God, riffing about nothing. Didn't I teach you to pray, our Father who art in heaven? What am I trying to tell you? You're just like me, but you've been indoctrinated to believe you're a human. You are a living soul. You are a living soul. When I see people, I see energies of God. I don't see normal people. My worldview is not like, I'm not sitting around like, yo, look at all these dudes, man. I know that there's genius there because I understand that every one of these beings are nothing but energies of God. Some of us are more conscious of what we are and who we are, and we've learned a little bit more to be more tune with how to utilize it than others. So some of us have fallen to the level because, and let me just say this, because it's just kind of answering that about us dying. They want you to fear something that it takes 1 second to die. It takes a long time to live. Which one should you be afraid of? I'm not afraid of dying. A toothache is worse than dying. I can sit here with a toothache crying for weeks. Yo, man, give me some medicine. Okay?
Right.
And then pow. Which one do you pow is over or weeks and months of pain? I guarantee you the pain of a toothache is worse than death. We just don't know it because you haven't personally experienced it. That joke is a joke. We're living souls, bro. And until we want to take that on and see, it takes you to go before humans. When a being shows up in front of kids and tells them that they're living souls, you got a problem. That and it changes. That's why people get eliminated, because they know it only takes one little thing to shift the whole culture. Look at hip hop. Lauryn Hill was a beautiful, wholesome Black girl who was looking to bring spirituality, knowledge into hip hop culture. Her and the Fugees blew up. The Illuminati went into action and made sure they destroyed the Fugees, who were the #1 group. They made sure they destroyed the whole situation. They gave them enough money to split up the group. The group never did another album. And then they bait and switch, and they put Little Kim in the position of Lauryn Hill, so all of our children would want to be whores and harlots. And then they brought in the gay energy. They created the gay mafia, and they funded the destruction of the spiritual realm that hip hop was built on. Because from Nas to Prodigy to so many other scholars, they were all righteous, even Jay-Z. They were all down with Dr. Malachi Z. York. They was all down with Farrakhan. They was all down with, what's his name? Jordan Maxwell, our white brother who's been teaching forever on, the solar messiahs and all these other things. And they try to define us to the world. You can't define us to the world, because I got more white scholars that I learned from than I do Black scholars. Because I know that's right. I got many white scholars that I study all the time, everything they say. And because truth is truth, man, it doesn't matter what vehicle it comes through. It doesn't matter. All of that stuff, first of all, God only allowed this DNA matrix to exist because he knew that there was, once the earth gets used to, oh man, there's a thing called Chinese man. Look at him, his eyes are slanted, look at him. Look, I'm blue-black. Like, there's dudes in Africa that's literally blue-black. Like, they see black, they like, look blue. Then they got white people. Then they got this. We have to learn about other life forms on Earth to get ready to meet other planets and beings that are different. That's why he allows different religions, different philosophies, different strategies. Because if there was only one way, the whole Earth would just have been one way from the jump.
I have an annoying question.
Go ahead.
With all this knowledge that we are learning, acquiring throughout our short time on this earth, what's our greatest deterrent? What is stopping us from being the power in the land? Because right now, we keep talking about the system that's controlling all of us. We're on the hamster wheel. What the F, bro? Like, what? We have all this knowledge of self and the Anunnakis, and why are we not the power on this earth? To me, it doesn't make sense at all. It's almost driving me crazy. And everything y'all are teaching me, this is new to me, right? So I'm coming to these maybe childlike conclusions of, all right, we got the knowledge, we got the history, what's up? What are we gonna do next? How do we take control back?
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Please jump in, yes.
Yeah, please.
It goes back to, actually, before I answer that, I just want to say something, because when I opened, when I opened this, and I was just kind of like, a lot of this, I love that, Dewry, you're like fresh and new. It's nice to have that beginner's mind perspective on all this, and you just keep asking the good questions, and you know what I mean? Like you're really helping drive the engine of, breathing life into all this.
Yeah.
And I really just want to say to people like Earl and Godfather, who have been into this knowledge since like the 90s, at least, maybe even longer. Earl might have been into this in the 80s.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. And, there's a simple answer, which is that everything really, truly is driven and rewarded the more in sync it is with a satanic Luciferian intent. So the more pure you are internally with your intent, and that's not your actual like resonance, consciously or unconsciously. I mean, a lot of people are good people and they just don't even know they're running on a satanic script. They're not even aware of it. They don't even know. And then of course there's just straight up evil people. But
right,
when you're genuinely aware of these higher principles and you're working on yourself to become a better person, you might have started out in a terrible situation and done a lot of bad things, but you're on a journey of becoming a better person, and you're coming into higher knowledge and you're trying to be a better person. And because you're in a positive trajectory, you're no longer, in fact, you're almost punished by the system, because you're out of resonance with the reward centers of the system. The system is constantly trying to reinforce and reward a satanic script. They're trying to bring about a result, and they are in control of the legal system, and they are in control of the financial system, and they are the backbone and the skeleton of especially the entertainment industry and all these kinds of things. And that's why I have this like knowing that, these two other guys, I'm mostly talking straight to you right now, Dewry, but these two other guys on this call, Godfather and Earl, I want them, just like people always say, we need to give you your flowers while you're alive. We need to celebrate you while you're alive. Is like these two guys, having been in this knowledge for this long and aren't sitting in the inheritance that they deserve in the culture. I just have a knowing. It's like, we're at a moment where it's time to invert reality, rather than everything that's on board with playing into the script that's like taking everything in the wrong direction. Okay. And this also answers your other question. Why are we not? You're asking that question, like why are we not running shit? Yeah. we got the higher knowledge, we got everything. Like what are we waiting for? And the answer is, you're asking a perfect question. Well, we should be. Because we have to step forward and kind of declare and take possession of our rightful inheritance. Right. Like this is our rightful inheritance, and we have to like walk into that. And I think that, it's like I see and know it. Like when I look at Earl and I look at Godfather, I say, I see an injustice that is like, these guys should be at the top of the culture. Right. You know what I mean? It should be reversed. This should be this is the most important.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know that I see it. I see the energy, and it's like this. We're living in an inversion of reality right now. The whole Luciferian spell is an inversion of reality. Everything is backwards. And so we have to step forward and set it straight. We have to claim our authority. We have to claim our inheritance. And, it takes us like reminding each other, waking each other up and reminding each other. And I think it's like one of the strongest messages coming through me, even in this call, the knowing that this call had to happen today. And Earl and Godfather got to get together, and like those two energies have to come together, just like, we've all come together previously. Every other combination of the four of us has already come together in some way. We had one call without Earl with Godfather on, But
yeah, I'll probably be in Atlanta next week. You know, if you're in Atlanta, we could definitely get up.
Yeah, well, I'm here, Godfather. We should definitely link and definitely.
Yeah, I'll get you guys both. I'll text you guys both each other's info.
Okay, all right, yes. Text it over, you know, and we stay in touch. And,
yeah.
Let's get things moving. You know what I mean? You know, I got a bunch of things on the table right now. I got a sneaker contract they offered me out in Ukraine, and I got a tequila brand that they introduced me to. You know, also, you know what I mean, out here in California. So just looking for investors. You know what I mean? I got the actual design, but I can't find a designer right now. I don't know. He just disappeared. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, Dewry.
But
you know, right, Dewry?
What did you say?
I said, if anything, Dewry's the designer.
Let's make it happen.
I didn't want to toot my own horn, but toot.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know.
I don't know if you know, but Dewry is the illest with designing everything. Like, I mean, the whole thing, entire packaging. He'll blow your mind with what he'll do with that. So I'm leave it at that. He's the best.
Yeah, I already know. I know. Multi-talented. You know what I mean? I know your work. Your work is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I do package design and all that stuff. Earl and I have been working together for many years, so Earl has seen my work.
I'm gonna get you two linked too. Dewry?
Yeah, definitely.
Dewry Godfather? Okay.
Yeah.
So
where you stationed at, Dewey?
He's in New York.
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, I'm in Queensbridge right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So look, I'll get your number and then I'll text you my link so you could see things that I've done. You know, you'll see my capabilities and stuff.
Oh yeah, and also, you know, y'all was talking about the music. My daughter, DJ Clue, playing her song on the radio.
Nice.
She's an upcoming artist. You know, she's making great music right now. So you know,
what's her stage name?
In the industry as well. Luck Mula, Lukmula.
Oh, Luck Mula. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a strong name, man.
Right now. Yeah, she just put an EP out. It's on Apple Music.
Nice.
It's called Better Luck Next Time.
Okay.
Yeah.
so are we meeting every Sunday? Is that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it'll always go down every Sunday, but overall, yeah, I think that, like I said, it's one of my big epiphanies was I feel like this higher knowledge and this meaning of the minds it is the equivalent of a spiritual experience. You know what I mean? It's like a religious experience.
Yeah, I'll be home next Sunday, so you know I'll be able to do the video if anything.
Yeah, and actually, the only Sunday that I'm not going to be available is next
Sunday
because it's Easter and I got family coming. Right. So I'm gonna be doing an Easter thing with my family, but you know, every other Sunday, yeah, I'm definitely think it's a good idea for us to meet on Sundays. Personally, okay. I think it'd be good for me personally to try to create a habit and a discipline of like building momentum in higher knowledge. You know what I mean? And doing something about it. And I'm so happy to have Earl on the call because it's like, and you've known this too, Dewry, the whole time you've known him, is like his greatest like gift and jewel is really his hip hop ministry. Like he was put on this earth to teach hip hop, to teach a hip hop ministry. And you know, I feel like it's like an overripe fruit. You know what I mean? It's overly ready. It's beyond ready. You know, it was already ready a long time ago, but
Earl was already on 106 in Park many times, you know, speaking to the audience and the youth. And I mean, Earl, you didn't even get into, you know, your collaborations with Nicki Minaj and, you know, with like, you know, fragrances and stuff like that, your relationship with Andy Hilfiger. Like, this is the era that I met Earl in. You know, he introduced me to Hocus for Fifth and Bang Bang Boogie and all these guys. So, I mean, I know he's been consistently working. And you know, meeting me, because I do branding, like I was like the perfect marriage between, you know, someone like Earl and then someone like me. Like, I mean, we could have done leaps and bounds of businesses, you know, together. So
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
I'm glad we're back, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, we here, Dewry. You know, it's great that we all doing this, and I already know that, you know, some amazing things are gonna manifest out of all this. So let's keep it going, man. Like we said, we get up on Sundays or every other Sunday, whatever y'all say. I'm always available for that.
Oh,
yeah.
perfect. Me too.
Money earned in Mount Vernon, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Heavy D. I had a chance to hang out with him, you know what I'm saying? Downtown, like on 14th Street. Yeah, in the meat packing district. Yeah. It was me, him, Nas, Branson, Khalees. It was a whole bunch of us. Whoa, we was chilling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Man, shout out to everybody in Mount Vernon. Man, great artists come from out there, you know what I mean? My sister was just at Mary J. crib.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
Yeah, my sister Kinky, she sings with us, you know. And as far as music, like my group, the infamous Mobb, I wrote 95% of the first album. I'm Prodigy's only ghostwriter.
That's dope.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you know, so you know, we go deep as far as within the music as well. You know, as far as like the creativity and all that. You know, I had a huge part in that. But yeah, we dig it deep in next week.
Yeah, let me ask you. You know the producer named Reefer? Do you know Reefer?
Yeah, I know Reef.
Man, he brought me out to Queensbridge, man, years ago, man. He had fire, B.
Yeah.
Me and Reef, I don't know how I lost his number, man. Like years ago, I was coming in that Mobb Deep lane. He brought me out to QB. I came out there to the projects and all that, and it was crazy, man. That whole feeling, I could just feel it in the air that something was gonna happen out there. But
yeah, I know. It's eerie. It's very eerie. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like when you come up that long driveway, there's like some little stores there on the right, like these little bodega stores or something, and then all the buildings. It was crazy. I about it in. But
yeah. We was out there last night. Well, I pulled up last night. Everybody's shocked. I don't tell them when I'm coming through. I just pull up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was crazy last night. My man, Blue Cheese, he do the chicken wings down by the barber shop on the weekends every Saturday.
Oh, okay. Damn,
yeah, so
that's
everybody come out.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a quick question. Is Melly Mel from Queensbridge?
No, Melly Mel. No. Marley Marl.
Oh, Molly Mall. Okay.
Yeah, Marley Marl. Yeah, Marley Marl came down 21st Street, hanging out the cab window, called me. Well, yo, Godfather. Hey, everybody be like, yo, who was that? I was like, yo, that's Marley Marl. He was like, you lying. I said, I know where he's going. I'm about to go see him right now. I know where he's going. He's going down the block to Paul Brown crib. I got down there. It was him, Roxanne Shante, and
Wow.
I think Craig D or somebody. Whoa.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, we close,
man.
man.
Hip hop history.
Yeah, Marley raised me, man. I used to be the runner for Marley. We'll get the cigarettes, the beers, and all that, the Budweisers. We'll get the socks when we playing ball. You know, we'll get my socks when we got to play some ball, man.
Nice.
We used to listen outside the window when he making the music, like Big Daddy Kane up there, or you know, he got Eric B and Rakim and Cool G up there. We listening right outside the window, like crazy, man. Just hearing everything come to light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Before it hit the market, before it hit the radio, you know what I mean? You listen to everything, you listen to the bridge right there on the block before it's even made, like, you know what I mean? Before it's structured. So, and then the finished product, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. So that influenced me heavily within the music industry. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of history just between you two. Just between Earl and Godfather in the cult.
Yeah, I'm writing a book right now. You know, I'm gonna finish up this book. I already started. You know, I started like from birth to high school. I'm at right now. So, you know.
Nice.
put that together as well.
So I gotta hop off, people.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get up. Nice seeing you, man. Nice seeing everybody, man.
Yes.
The next one, we'll have it. I guess we'll send out the Zoom and we'll all jump on it.
All right, perfect.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, man, nice speaking to all you.
All right, y'all.
I got brother. Pleasure. Brian, what's up?
All right, yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
All right, bye.